I think that since October 7th, but really before then, there have been huge shifts in America on how people think about Jews and Israel.
So she's literally bemoaning that anti-Semitism is allowed to rise because of the availability of information. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think she has any self-awareness that is what she's saying.
So you have TikTok just smashing our young people's brains all day long with video of carnage in Gaza. So I want to give data and information and facts and arguments, and they are just seeing in their minds carnage.
And she is saying this without like a shred of self-doubt.
Holocaust education is absolutely essential.
The diagnosis is totally incorrect. This is the most Jewish video I have ever seen. Her name is Sarah Hurwitz. As always, Jews are reaching the correct conclusions for the wrong reason. So a lot of what she's saying is true, but the conclusions that she's reaching are dumbfounding.
I think that since October 7th, but really before then, there have been huge shifts in America on how people think about Jews and Israel. And I think that is especially true of young people. So we are now wrestling with a new, I think, generational divide here. And I think that's particularly true in that social media is now our source of media. And this, it used to be that the media you got in America was American media, and it was pretty mainstream. It generally didn't express extreme anti-Israel views. You had to go to a pretty weird bookstore to find global media and fringe media.
Yeah. So she's literally bemoaning that anti-Semitism is allowed to rise because of the availability of information. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think she has any self-awareness that is what she's saying. Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, you're right.
But today we have social media, which is a global medium. Right? Its algorithms are shaped by billions of people worldwide who don't really love Jews. And so while in the 1990s, a young person probably wasn't going to find Al Jazeera or someone like Nick Fuentes, today those media outlets find them. They find them on their phones. It's also this increasingly post-literate media, less and less text, more and more videos. So you have TikTok just smashing our young people's brains all day long with video of carnage in Gaza. And this is why so many of us can't have a sane conversation with younger Jews, because anything that we try to say to them, they are hearing it through this wall of carnage. So I want to give data and information and facts and arguments, and they are just seeing in their minds carnage, and I sound obscene.
Okay, let's pause it again. And now she's bemoaning that the actual evidence, the video evidence of what they're doing, the brutality and the lack of humanity.
Shooting 4-year-olds in the head, raping prisoners.
That is an impediment to her intellectualizing, using data and reason to try to tell these people why this is not unethical. And she is saying this without like a shred of self-doubt. It's just not a shred of self-doubt. Let's keep going. This thing she says on Holocaust education is very important.
And, I think, unfortunately, the very smart, bet that we made on Holocaust education to serve as anti-Semitism education, in this new media environment, I think that is beginning to break down a little bit. Because, Holocaust education is absolutely essential. No. But I think it may be confusing some of our young people about anti-Semitism because they learn about big, strong Nazis hurting weak, emaciated Jews. And they think, oh, anti-Semitism is like anti-black racism, right? Powerful white people against powerless black people. So when on TikTok all day long they see powerful Israelis hurting weak, skinny Palestinians, it's not surprising that they think, oh, I know, the lesson of the Holocaust is you fight Israel. You fight the big, powerful people hurting the weak people.
No, people are looking at the Holocaust, and they are making this this corollary that she's describing, but they're looking at it and they're deciding that Israel is too powerful and that they are, basically brutalizing and genociding people from Gaza. And that is the correct conclusion. And they're not able to get out of it. They're not able to talk their way out of it like they normally do because media, it's the virality of some of these clips from Gaza. You just can't stop it. And now she doesn't know what to do. So she's making the correct assessment of the situation that's going on, but the diagnosis is totally incorrect. This is the most Jewish video I have ever seen. I can't remember who sent that to me, but thank you. Dave, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, well, I was going to add into this. this was a part of what Casey Whalen was talking about too, because this whole Holocaust education thing is coming to Idaho. Again, here's from his most recent video.
So law would do.
With Pastor David Magera, and Dave just got back from Israel, has some amazing things he's been talking to his church about today, but he also informed me of some great things he's been doing in Idaho. Dave, take it from here.
So this week, we had a meeting with the Educational Committee at the state capitol, legislators, regarding Holocaust education. They passed unanimously a resolution to be sent to the floor of the House this coming week and then on to the Senate, which I believe both of those will vote strongly in favor of it, that will provide Holocaust education for middle schoolers and then a refresher course in high school, so that those kids who want to graduate from Idaho high schools have got to have a season of education about the Holocaust, which I think is a huge win. And part of what we're seeing at our university and college campuses is a result of not keeping Holocaust education in our curriculum. So they become anti-Semitic, they hate Israel, they don't understand. And so this is a big win.
I love how in the absence of refresher courses and scheduled propaganda, repeat propaganda, that the result is just necessarily
people become anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitism.
Like,
He's right about that.
If we don't subject like third graders to videos of emaciated bodies getting bulldozed into pits, everyone will be an anti-Semite.
Oh, yeah.
This is crazy.
We read Eli Wiesel's Night 2 times in high school.
See, I was given the option. It was optional.
That's right. We talked about this.
It was optional when I was in school. You could read 1984 or Night. And I read 1984.
Yeah.
Fuck Night.
Good. And now you're a famous Nazi.
Night is, that's fiction.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't
he lose his Pulitzer Prize?
Book.
I feel like we've talked about this before, but...
We might have, but it's a fiction book. And I remember when I was in school, it was not presented to us as fiction.
Oh, no, me
It
neither,
was presented as though this was an actual firsthand account of the Holocaust.
Yeah, with the throwing the Jewish babies in the air and then lancing them on the German bayonet.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, they're fucked.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, too many people have seen it. And it's like, yeah, you've got to go through like hours and hours of indoctrination once you've seen the brutal reality on the ground of Gaza. And then you see what's going on in the government with Ben Shapiro and all these people. It's over.
Oh, yeah. And then they just keep taking the mask off. This Ben Shapiro clip that I want to talk about was from last week, but we didn't talk about it. And so I wanted to bring it up. I think he did trigonometry last week.
Trigonometry?
I think Ben Shapiro was on trigonometry.
Oh, is that the name of a podcast?
It's a very, very bad, very large podcast.
Oh, okay.
But this was just astonishing. Like, he's another one. He has no shame in what he's saying. Let's play this clip.
They call that chutzpah.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here.
What?
I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities.
Let's talk about why this is so Jewish, okay?
We need to fucking deport this asshole into the sun.
Oh, my gosh.
Put him on a SpaceX rocket and shoot him into the sun.
I know he's talking about New York, where economic opportunities are plentiful. People should be able to live in New York, okay? It's a huge
You should
city.
be able to, but you can't.
But you can't, yeah. You have to live with 6 roommates, like, on 186th Street or something. Or move to Queens, God help you.
No.
Or the Bronx. Ugh.
Stay out of Brooklyn.
Yeah, just stay out of Brooklyn.
Just stay away from Brooklyn.
But the idea that you have no right as an American to continue community building where you grew up, where you were born, where you know your neighbors, where it's probably multi-generational, you have no right to that. That disbands the concept of community that is central to Americanism. And this is important to Jews. It's important to Jews to stop us from forming strong communities, because then they can't subvert the culture. They can't subvert the culture when the nuclear family is strong or when people are living in strong, homogenous communities. And that's why he has so much disdain for it. The reason that this pisses me off so much, though, is that he vehemently defends the idea that Americans should endlessly support Israel, not just in ideology and in principle, but financially. How many billions of dollars? Don't even tell me how many billions of dollars we've sent to Israel at this point. I don't know. I don't really want to know. But the number is astounding, I'm sure. So we have to support his ethno-state, his homeland, so that he has a place to go back to. But we have no right as Americans to community build. That is not our birthright. What an asshole.
Oh, but it gets even worse. Have you seen this clip about the age of retirement?
Yes.
Did we play it on the show?
We played it on the show. Yeah, let's play it.
I'll play it again.
And let's be real about this. It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy. Joe Biden, if that were the case, Joe Biden should not be running for president. Hey, Joe Biden is 81 years old. The retirement age in the United States at which you start to receive Social Security and you are eligible for Medicare is 65. Joe Biden has technically been eligible for Social Security and Medicare for 16 years, and he wants to continue in office until he is 86, which is 19 years past when he would be eligible for retirement. No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. Everybody that I know who is elderly, who has retired, is dead within 5 years. And if you talk to people who are elderly and they lose their purpose in life by losing their job and they stop working, things go to hell in a handbasket real quick. But
well, you can have another purpose in life if you live in a strong community. You think people in Okinawa are never retiring?
Grandkids, maybe.
Yeah, how about that?
Your church.
It's just unreal. No amount of Holocaust propaganda is going to stop the youth from recognizing these as Jewish mask-off moments, and that's what they are.
And not only that, but like for the Holocaust propaganda to work, you have to make people, like, you have to enrich their lives. They have to be driving around in a Corvette, with a nice job,
right,
and a bonus at the end of the year, and we're not getting any of that. You
Instead,
can't own a home.
they're destroying our economy.
Yeah, 50-year mortgage, 15-year car loan, $2,000 stimmy check if you make less than $100,000 a year. You can't own a home. You can't get fucking hired at any of these tech places because all these Indians are in charge.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing.
Have you seen these videos that are coming out of
system.
Job seekers talking about their experiences right now?
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I've sent out hundreds of applications. Nobody has contacted me back.
Oh, and then the number of people that if they're lucky enough to get the interview, they'll go through 3 rounds of interviews, get up to like the senior VP, and it's an Indian, and they never get called back again.
Exactly.
Because Indians only hire
other Indians. I feel like we don't let Cameron get in here. We're feeling ranty tonight. Cameron, get in there.
Oh, it's okay. Well, look, you reap what you sow. And what's happened is, and I'm reading from an article that I think was put out by UNICEF. Maybe you can bring it up, Davis. 2 years of hellish war have devastated Gaza's children. And this comes from their executive director. In the last 2 years, 64,000 children have reportedly been killed or maimed across the Gaza Strip, including at least 1,000 babies. We don't know how many more have died due to preventable illness or are buried under the rubble, which means it's almost certainly higher than that, and it may be higher than that by degrees of magnitude. No amount of propaganda in the world is going to put a positive spin on that, right? It's going to transform that into some kind of defensive justification for war. It simply will not obtain. That's the first problem. And as you point out, they won't pivot. They don't have a reverse gear. They will not in any way, shape, or form show remorse. And that brings me to the next. Their ethos, their worldview is what's really being unmasked. When people tell you who they are, listen to them, pay attention. And what Ben Shapiro is arguing is the ethos of the rootless cosmopolitan. There is no community. There is no folk. There is no hometown. There is just an economic opportunity. There's a social economic ladder, and you climb to the top of it. And furthermore, if you do not climb to the top of it, well, fuck you. You're a loser. That's what they think. Their perception of anybody that has not accumulated vast amounts of wealth is that that person is not as smart or not as capable or what have you. Now, lest we forget that you should not live your life in pursuit of money. Countless religions around the world, certainly Christianity, among others, has said, look, life is a glorious metaphysical reality. It's something that is about family, it's about love, it's about community, right? It's about the human connections that we form. But that's not the way that they see it. They see it as this social, economic, social Darwinist experiment. And unfortunately, that has dovetailed very well with the libertarian ethos, which is something we've talked about at length on this program. The bottom line is that that ethos is becoming detestable by a population that, as Dave said a moment ago, is increasingly squeezed. They're compressed, right? They can't get ahead. There's no way out. And what they see is rampant corruption and hypocrisy. They don't see the guile and the alacrity of elites. What they see is rank corruption. And that's exactly what's there. People like Ben Shapiro. I mean, I think Ben Shapiro, Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's had a syndicated column since he was 18 or 19 years old. He's been fast-tracked to success because of his affiliation with the Jewish power structure. Everybody knows that. And instead of gratitude, there is entitlement, right? There is a sense of obligatory power. And now that these people are losing control of the narrative, losing control of institutions, losing control of corporate America, et cetera, they're afraid. And so they're lashing out. And what they're discovering, which is something I've talked about at length, is that their propaganda never really worked to begin with. All it really did is it saturated the airwaves with their presence, with their seeming power. And now that power has provoked resentment among the population. And of course, they can't understand this. How could you resent people that are so smart, that are so gifted, that have so much money, that have done by virtue of their superior intelligence and culture, gifted us their presence? This is what they think. And that sort of detestable mindset is going to be their undoing. Never mind this horrifying genocide that's going on in Gaza, and I would argue is also happening in Ukraine as well. They will not be able to escape the moral consequences of what they have wrought.
And shame on us for adopting this staunch capitalistic position where morality and community are entirely removed. And we talked about this at length with Constantine in our interview on Monday. That quote from Benoit saying that you cannot have a conversation about capitalism in the absence of immigration. You can't do that. And we have allowed ourselves to become these cutthroat libertarian capitalists, which led to a technocracy that has been totally taken over by foreign influence. So we get what we deserve here because we've allowed ourselves to be subverted by Jews. Are you going to play this clip of Ben Shapiro playing the violin?
I don't think it's actually that, but I'll try. I think it's another song.
He's playing Schindler's List, right?
Benjamin Shapiro.
Yeah, see, this is not the right song, but that is Ben Shapiro.
Do you know what else is Jewish? Let's talk about other things.
I love that you can
Jewish.
just play the intro to the song and you know exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's like 11-year-old Ben Shapiro playing Schindler's List.
Maybe at our next meetup we should have like a Cybertruck and we can blast that song and then
we can have a blimp that says Jews rape kids.
Kids rape kids. Yeah.
Sam Altman, Jewish. I'm pretty sure that this entire AI economy is a Jewish Ponzi scheme.
Yes.
So I was doing research on this today because I was unaware of